It was a simple question, but for him, it felt like the hardest moment of his life. Can you introduce yourself in English? The room went silent. Not the kind of silence you enjoy, but the kind that slowly crushes your chest. Everyone was looking at him, waiting, watching, judging. At least, that's what it felt like. His heart started beating fast. His hands felt cold. His mind, completely blank. He knew English. At least, that's what he believed. He had studied grammar for years. He had memorized hundreds of words. He had even passed exams. But in that moment, not a single sentence came out. Not even a simple one. That's all he could say. Then silence again. The interviewer gave a polite smile, but that smile didn't feel kind. It felt like the end. That day, he walked out of the room with one heavy thought in his mind. Maybe English is not for me. His name was Arjun, just a normal guy, nothing special, not rich, not confident, not fluent. He came from a small town where English was not spoken every day, but he had dreams, big ones. He wanted a good job. He wanted to support his family. He wanted to stand in a room and speak without fear. But there was one problem. Every time he tried to speak English, he froze. At home, things were simple. He spoke in his own language. He laughed freely. He felt like himself. But outside, in interviews, in public places, around strangers, he became someone else. Quiet, nervous, invisible. That night, he sat alone in his room. No phone, no music, just silence. The same question kept repeating in his mind. Why can't I speak? He wasn't lazy. He had tried. Oh, he had tried a lot. He bought grammar books. He watched English videos. He wrote new words in a notebook every day. Improve your vocabulary. That's what everyone said. So he did. Every day, 10 new words. Every week, 70 words. But something felt wrong, because even after learning so many words, he still couldn't speak. He opened his notebook, page after page filled with words, complicated words, words he never used, words he barely understood, words that felt heavy. He stared at them for a long time. Then slowly, he whispered, "What is the use of all this if I cannot speak?" The truth started to hurt, not because English was difficult, but because something in his learning was broken. The next morning, he tried again, standing in front of the mirror, looking at himself. He took a deep breath and said, "Hello, my name is Arjun." Then he stopped. Again, same problem, same fear, same silence. He closed his eyes. Frustration started building inside him. "Why is this so hard?" he said softly. "I know the words. I know the grammar. Then why can't I speak?" At that moment, something inside him started to crack. Not loudly, not suddenly, but slowly, like a quiet realization waiting to come out. What if the problem was not his intelligence? What if the problem was not English? What if the problem was the way he was learning? He didn't have the answer yet, but for the first time, he started asking the right question. Later that day, he met his friend Ravi. Ravi was not very educated. He never studied big grammar books. He didn't know difficult words. But somehow, Ravi could speak English. Simple English, broken sometimes, but confident, clear, natural. Arjun looked at him and thought, how is this possible? That question stayed in his mind, all day, all night, because deep inside, he knew one thing. If Ravi could do it, then maybe, just maybe, he could too. But what Arjun didn't know was this. Ravi was not using big words. Ravi was not using perfect grammar. Ravi was using something much simpler, something powerful, something that would soon change everything. And when Arjun finally discovers it, his life will never be the same again. Arjun couldn't stop thinking about it. All night, One question kept repeating in his mind. How can Ravi speak when I can't? It didn't make sense. Arjun had studied more, worked harder, memorized more words, and yet he was the one who stayed silent. The next day, he didn't wait. He went straight to Ravi. Ravi was sitting at a small tea stall, talking casually with someone in English. Simple sentences, nothing fancy, but smooth, confident, natural. Arjun stood there for a moment, watching, listening, trying to understand. Finally, he walked up and said, Ravi, I need to ask you something. Ravi smiled. Of course. What happened? Arjun hesitated for a second, then spoke. How do you speak English like that? Ravi laughed softly. Like what? Like, without fear, Arjun said, without stopping every second. Ravi looked at him carefully. Then he asked a simple question. Tell me honestly, how do you learn English? Arjun took a deep breath. I study grammar, a lot. I memorize vocabulary every day. I try to learn new words, big words. Ravi nodded slowly. And how often do you speak? Arjun went quiet. Not much. Ravi smiled again, not in a mocking way, but like someone who already knew the answer. Arjun, he said gently, you are not learning English. You are collecting English. That line hit him hard. Collecting? Arjun repeated. Yes, Ravi said. You are collecting words, like items, but you are not using them. Arjun frowned. But isn't that how we learn? Ravi shook his head. No, that's how we think we learn. There was a pause. The noise of the street faded into the background. For a moment, it felt like everything slowed down. Then Ravi leaned forward slightly. Let me ask you something, he said. If I give you 1,000 words today, can you speak tomorrow? Arjun didn't answer, because he already knew the truth. Ravi continued. But if you take just 20 simple words and use them again and again, every day, he paused, you will start speaking. Arjun's eyes narrowed. 20 words? Yes, Ravi said. Simple words. Words you already know. Arjun felt confused. But that's too basic. Ravi smiled again. Exactly. That word echoed in Arjun's mind. Basic. Ravi picked up a cup of tea and said, Tell me something in English right now. Arjun froze. Again, same feeling, same block. Ravi didn't rush him. Instead, he said slowly, Use only simple words. Arjun tried. I go work yesterday. He stopped, embarrassed. That's wrong, he said quickly. But Ravi shook his head. No, that's not wrong. Arjun looked surprised. It's not? No, Ravi said. It's not perfect, but I understand you. That sentence changed something. For communication, understanding is enough, Ravi continued. You don't need perfect grammar to speak. Arjun stayed silent, but this time, not because of fear, because he was thinking. Ravi continued. You think too much before speaking. You try to be perfect. Arjun nodded slowly. Yes. That's your problem, Ravi said. Your brain is not free. Free? Arjun asked. Yes, Ravi said. When you try to use big words, your brain gets slow. It becomes afraid of making mistakes. He pointed at his head. But when you use simple words, your brain feels safe. Safe. That word felt strange, but true. Ravi leaned back and said, I don't use difficult English. I use simple patterns. Patterns? Arjun asked. Ravi nodded. Yes, listen. He spoke slowly. I want to eat. I need to go. I like to talk. I am going to work. I have to study. He looked at Arjun. These are not big sentences. Arjun shook his head. No, they're very simple. Exactly, Ravi said. But with these, I can speak all day. Arjun blinked. All day? Yes, Ravi said. Same patterns, different words. He continued. I want to eat. I want to sleep. I want to learn. I need to work. I need to rest. I need to call him. Arjun's mind started racing, not with confusion, but with realization. This was different, very different. No complex grammar, no heavy vocabulary, just simple, repeatable patterns. Ravi looked at him and said quietly, You don't need thousands of words, Arjun. He paused, then added, You need a few words, used many times. Silence. But this time, it felt different. Something inside Arjun was shifting, slowly, deeply. All those years, all those books, all that pressure. Was it possible that he was learning the wrong way? He looked at Ravi again, and for the first time, there was a small spark in his eyes. Can I really speak like you? He asked. Ravi smiled. Better than me. Arjun felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. But hope alone was not enough, because knowing the idea and actually speaking were two very different things. And what Arjun was about to face next would test everything. That night, Arjun didn't open his grammar book for the first time in years. No rules, no long vocabulary lists, no pressure to be perfect. Just one simple idea in his mind. Use simple words again and again. He stood in front of the mirror. Same place, same face, same fear. But something was different this time. He was not trying to be perfect. He was just trying to speak. He took a deep breath and said slowly, I want to speak. He paused, waited. Nothing bad happened. So they tried again. I want to learn. Then again, I want to improve. His voice was not strong, not confident, but it was moving. For the first time, he didn't stop after one sentence. A small smile appeared on his face. Maybe this works, he whispered. The next morning, he made a decision. No more heavy learning, no more pressure, just 10 minutes of speaking every day, out loud, not in his head. He started simple, very simple. While brushing his teeth, he said, I wake up. I feel sleepy. I need water. In the kitchen, I want tea. I like this food. I eat now. While walking outside, I go to work. I see people. I feel nervous. It felt strange at first, almost silly, like talking to himself. But something was happening, slowly. His mouth was getting used to English. His brain was not freezing anymore. Still, the fear was not gone. Not completely. 2 days later, reality tested him again. At work, his manager walked up to him. Arjun, can you explain this report to the client? His heart dropped. Same feeling, same pressure. He wanted to say no. He wanted to escape. But then, Ravi's words came back. Use simple words. Arjun took a deep breath and said quietly, Okay, I try. The client joined the call. Arjun's hands were shaking. His voice was low, but he started. Hello, I am Arjun. Pause. I explain report. Not perfect, not smooth, but he continued. This is sales, last month. Sales go up. This is problem, here. He made mistakes, many mistakes, but something surprising happened. The client didn't interrupt, didn't laugh, didn't complain. Instead, the client nodded and said, Okay, I understand. Understand. That word hit him hard. After the call, Arjun sat down slowly, his heart still beating fast, but his face was different. He had done it. Not perfectly, but he had spoken. For the first time in his life, he didn't stay silent. That evening, he ran to meet Ravi. I spoke, he said, almost out of breath. Ravi smiled. I know you could. I made mistakes, Arjun said quickly. A lot. Ravi nodded. That's good. Good? Arjun looked confused. Yes, Ravi said. Mistakes mean you are speaking. Arjun went quiet, thinking. All these years, he was afraid of mistakes. But now, mistakes felt different. Not like failure, but like progress. That night, Arjun practiced again. More sentences, more patterns. I need to work. I have to finish this. I am going to learn. Each sentence felt easier than before, not because English changed, but because his fear was changing. Days passed, then weeks. Slowly, something incredible started happening. He was thinking less, speaking more. Not perfect English, but real English. And then, one day, something unexpected happened. His manager called him again. Arjun, we have an important meeting tomorrow. Pause. You will present. This time, there was no place to hide, no short sentences, no quick escape. A full presentation, in English. Arjun felt the old fear coming back, stronger, heavier, louder. Not again, he whispered. All his progress, all his confidence started shaking. That night, he sat alone again. Same room, same silence. But this time, the question was different. Not, why can't I speak? But, am I really ready? The next morning came too fast. Arjun didn't sleep properly. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the meeting, the room, the people, the silence. And one thought kept repeating in his mind. What if I fail again? He sat on his bed for a long time. No motivation, no confidence, just pressure. Heavy pressure. For a moment, he thought about escaping, calling in sick, avoiding the presentation, going back to silence. Because silence was easy. Silence was safe. But then, something inside him stopped him. He remembered something Ravi said. You don't need perfect English. You need simple words used again and again. Arjun stood up slowly, looked at himself in the mirror, and whispered, I am not perfect, but I can try. That was his only strength now. Try. At work, the meeting room felt different. Too quiet, too serious, too big. His manager looked at him. Arjun, you are starting first. His stomach dropped. His hands turned cold again. He walked to the front, opened his laptop, and looked at the screen. Blank mind. Again. For 2 seconds, he forgot everything. But then, he took a breath, a small one, and started. Good morning. Pause. I am Arjun. Silence in the room. He continued slowly. Today, I explain project. Not perfect, but clear enough. This is our work, last month. This number is better. This part has problem. He stopped again. His mind tried to panic, but this time, he didn't run away from it. He remembered the patterns, simple sentences, simple words. I want to, I need to, I have to. So he continued. We need to improve this. We are going to fix this. I have to check details. His voice was still shaking, but he didn't stop. Something strange started happening. People were listening, not because his English was perfect, but because they understood him. One manager nodded, another wrote notes. Arjun noticed it, and it gave him strength. He continued longer. More sentences came, more flow, less fear. By the end, he was still nervous, but he was not silent. Thank you, he said softly, and stepped back. The room stayed quiet for a second. Then someone said, Good explanation. Those words hit him differently, not because they were praise, but because he understood them. After the meeting, Arjun sat alone again, but this time, not in fear, in shock. I did it, he whispered. His hands were still shaking, but now, it was not fear, it was relief. Ravi appeared later that day. So? He asked with a smile. Arjun looked at him and laughed softly. I spoke. Ravi nodded. I know. I was afraid, Arjun said. A lot. Ravi replied. Everyone is afraid. Arjun looked down. But I still did it. Ravi smiled. That's fluency. Arjun paused. Fluency? Yes, Ravi said. Not perfect English. Not big words. Not grammar rules. He leaned forward. Fluency is when you speak, even when you are afraid. Silence. That line stayed in Arjun's mind, because everything he believed before was starting to break. He didn't need thousands of words. He didn't need perfect grammar. He didn't need to be ready. He just needed to speak. That night, something changed inside him. Not suddenly, not magically, but deeply. He didn't open a grammar book. He didn't search for new vocabulary. Instead, he spoke, out loud, simple sentences, again and again. I wake up. I go to work. I feel better. I can speak. And for the first time, he believed it. But what Arjun didn't realize yet was that this was just the beginning, because soon a much bigger challenge would come, one that would test not just his English, but his confidence in himself. The next few days felt different for Arjun. Not easier, but different. Something had changed inside him after the meeting. He was still nervous sometimes. He still made mistakes. But now, he didn't run away from speaking. He started noticing small things. At work, he would say short sentences instead of staying silent. I will do it. I understand. I need time. Simple, but powerful for him. Even his coworkers noticed it. Arjun is speaking more now, one of them said. Arjun heard it and just smiled quietly. Because deep inside, he still didn't feel fluent, but he felt something new. Progress. Then one afternoon, everything changed again. Arjun was called into the manager's office. Arjun, his manager said, we have an important external meeting next week. Arjun nodded slowly, but then came the real shock. You will not just present this time. Pause. You will attend a client discussion alone. Arjun froze. Alone. No backup, no teammate, no help. His heart started beating fast again. That old fear came back instantly. But sir, I'm not ready, Arjun said. His manager looked at him calmly. You were not ready last time either. Silence. That sentence hit him harder than anything else. Arjun wanted to say no. He really did. But something inside him stopped him. Because this time, he didn't feel completely weak. He remembered Ravi's words. Fluency is when you speak even when you are afraid. So he nodded slowly. Okay. That single word changed everything. The meeting was scheduled for Monday. He had only a few days. That night, Arjun didn't sleep again. But not because of fear this time, because of pressure. Real pressure. He started preparing, but not the old way. No grammar books, no memorizing long sentences. Instead, he did something new. He practiced simple speaking, out loud, every single day. I need to explain this. This is our work. We are improving slowly. I will answer questions. Again and again, same patterns, same structure. His brain started adjusting. His mouth started responding faster. But still, fear didn't fully disappear. It stayed in the background, quiet but present. Finally, Monday came. The client meeting room was bigger than before. Strangers everywhere. Formal faces, serious atmosphere. Arjun sat alone at the table, laptop in front of him, hands slightly shaking. This time, no manager to start for him. No support. Only him. The client spoke first. Fast English, complex questions, confident tone. Arjun felt it again. That old pressure. That old silence trying to return. For a moment, his mind went blank. But then, something inside him clicked. Not confidence, not courage, just habit. Simple patterns, simple words. He started slowly. Yes, I understand. We are working on this. This problem, we fix. He paused, took a breath, continued. I will check details. I will update you. I can explain more. Not perfect, far from it. But something was different now. He didn't stop. Even when he made mistakes, he kept going. The client asked another question. Arjun didn't freeze this time. He replied. Simple, direct, clear enough. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. And slowly, something unbelievable started happening. The conversation was working. Not because his English was perfect, but because communication was happening. He was being understood. At one point, the client nodded and said, Okay, that's fine. Arjun almost didn't believe it. Fine? They understood him? After the meeting ended, Arjun just sat there quietly, staring at his laptop, processing what just happened. He didn't feel like a fluent speaker. Not yet, but he felt something stronger. He had survived his biggest fear. And more than that, he had spoken, alone, in real pressure. No escape. No silence. Only words. Simple words. That night, he walked home slowly. The city felt different. Not because it changed, but because he had changed. He whispered to himself, I spoke today. And for the first time, he didn't feel like someone who cannot speak English. He felt like someone who is learning to speak. But deep inside, he knew one thing. This was not the final level. Because real fluency was still ahead. And what came next would either break his confidence again or turn him into someone completely new. Arjun didn't become fluent overnight, but something inside him stopped being afraid. After that client meeting, he kept practicing every day. Not in a classroom, not with books, but in real life. I am going to work. I need to finish this. I understand now. I can speak slowly. Simple sentences, same patterns, again and again. And slowly, English stopped feeling like a subject. It started feeling like a tool. One morning at work, something small happened. A new intern joined the team. He looked nervous, very nervous, just like Arjun used to be. The intern asked quietly, Sir, can you help me? I don't speak English well. For a second, Arjun saw his old self, the silence, the fear, the hesitation. He smiled and replied, Yes, I can help you. Simple English, no pressure, no perfection. They started talking, slowly, step by step. And something strange happened. Arjun didn't think about grammar anymore. He didn't search for words in his mind. He just spoke, naturally. I understand this. You try again. It is okay. Take your time. The intern relaxed and kept talking. At that moment, Arjun realized something powerful. He was no longer the silent one. Days passed, then weeks. His English was still not perfect. He still made mistakes. He still paused sometimes. But the fear? It was almost gone. Now he could speak in meetings, answer questions, explain ideas, help others. Not because he learned thousands of words, but because he stopped fearing simple ones. One evening, Ravi met him again. Arjun looked different now. Calm, confident, relaxed. Ravi smiled. So, what changed? He asked. Arjun thought for a moment, then said, I stopped trying to be perfect. Ravi nodded. And? I started using simple words, again and again. Ravi smiled again. That's it. Arjun laughed softly. All this time, I thought English was hard. Ravi replied, English was never hard. Silence. Then Ravi added, Your fear made it hard. That line stayed with Arjun, because it was true. Not vocabulary, not grammar, not intelligence. Fear was the real barrier. Later that night, Arjun stood on a small balcony, looking at the city lights. He remembered everything. The interview where he stayed silent, the embarrassment, the struggle, the fear, the slow progress, the first words, the first mistakes, the first real success. And now, this moment. He whispered to himself, I can speak. Not loudly, not proudly, but peacefully. Because now, English was no longer something that controlled him. It was something he used. And that is when he understood the real truth. Fluency is not about how much you know. It is about how freely you speak. And Arjun finally learned, you don't become fluent when you learn more. You become fluent when you stop stopping. Because every sentence you speak breaks one layer of fear. And one day, you realize something powerful. You were always capable. You were just afraid.